Now, this is quite a discovery. Fragments of a biblical scroll.
Noah's great-grandfather wrote the ancient Book of Enoch. Its pages are filled with wild stories about angels and hidden truths.
One of the things that the Dead Sea Scrolls does for us, of course, it confirms the existence of the biblical text, and with a consistency that is really hard to believe.
This old book, penned from the 3rd century BC to the 1st century AD, talks about heavenly beings called Watchers who shared secret knowledge with humans, stirring up chaos with creatures called Nephilim. Though it's a big deal in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, many other religious groups don't pay it much attention. Yet, its discovery among the Dead Sea Scrolls reveals just how important it was in the past, shaping early Jewish mystical beliefs. But what if there's something more, something darker lurking in its pages? Let's find the unexpected answer that could save the humanity from hell. Divine Messages in Enoch's Sacred Book. The Book of Enoch, while rich in story and deeply impactful on specific religious practices, especially within the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, is not widely accepted among most Jewish and Christian communities. Its messages about God's intervening in human lives and the concept of universal justice are common themes found across a variety of ancient mythologies and spiritual texts, reflecting stories from many old cultures about deities interacting with people. When pieces of the Book of Enoch were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, it highlighted its historical importance and its influence on early Jewish mystical beliefs. These pieces help us understand the influence the text had during the era of the Second Temple and reveal the variety of religious beliefs at that time. The story within the Book of Enoch about the Watchers connects to broader conversations in today's culture, such as theories about ancient aliens influencing human history. While these ideas are speculative, they show how the story of Enoch continues to captivate people, and its descriptions of supernatural beings sharing knowledge with humans continue to fascinate. The fragments of the Book of Enoch that were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls are significant evidence of its importance in the Second Temple period, a rich time in Jewish history. During this period, many religious texts were written and shared among different Jewish groups, including the Essenes, who are often linked with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Originally written in Aramaic, the common language for Jewish sacred writings at that time, the Book of Enoch was later translated into Greek and then into ancient Ethiopic, ensuring its survival and continued reverence, especially in Ethiopian religious circles. The narrative of the Book of Enoch is known for mixing predictions of the end times with deep teachings, similar to the style in the biblical Book of Daniel. This blend enriches theological debates and combines mythical events with important spiritual lessons, often taught by heavenly beings. The themes and style of the narrative have had a significant impact on early Jewish mystical traditions and continue to influence Christian theological discussions. The discovery of the Book of Enoch in the Qumran caves shows how popular and significant it was in ancient times. Its teachings about cosmic and moral order, along with divine judgment, were highly respected by the communities of that era, deeply influencing their religious beliefs and practices. Even though it's not a central part of many modern religious teachings, the Book of Enoch is crucial in the rituals of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and has influenced mystical and apocalyptic beliefs for centuries. The fragments found among the Dead Sea Scrolls provide valuable insights into the religious environment and the variety of texts during the Second Temple period. They demonstrate the deep respect for the Book of Enoch at that time, showing how it was woven into the beliefs and practices of various religious groups, reflecting the diverse landscape of early religious thought. Apart from its religious significance, the Book of Enoch offers important views into ancient Jewish ideas about the universe, the hierarchy of angels, and the end of time. Understanding these themes is key to grasping the development of religious concepts during that period, Its focus on divine judgment and the expectation of a messianic figure provide insights into how religious thoughts evolved over the centuries. Enoch's text provides a window into the worldview of ancient Jewish communities, showing how they saw the cosmos as organized and controlled by divine beings. The structured ranking of angels described in the text shows their belief in a heavenly administration managing earthly matters. Additionally, the apocalyptic parts of the Book of Enoch reflect the concerns and hopes of the people at the time as they dealt with political changes and social shifts. The depiction of the judgment of the wicked and the arrival of a savior resonated deeply with its audience, offering comfort and a sense of justice during difficult times. The hope for a messianic figure who would bring divine justice and restore peace provided solace and comfort to those facing hardship. Moreover, the Book of Enoch's impact goes beyond religious contexts, influencing artistic and literary works throughout history. Its imagery and themes have inspired many interpretations, from medieval illuminated manuscripts to modern science fiction. This lasting legacy highlights the ongoing appeal and significance of Enoch's teachings. Discover the Gospel of Thomas, a unique text that challenges traditional Christian teachings with its secret wisdom. Discovering Your Real Soul through Thomas's teachings. The Gospel according to Thomas emerges as an intriguing manuscript from the dawn of Christianity, notable for its distinctive structure and themes. In contrast to the familiar accounts of Jesus' life and teachings found in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which recount his deeds and lessons, the Gospel of Thomas contains 114 sayings attributed to Jesus. It places significant importance on personal spiritual discernment over the traditional Christian emphasis on Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection, proposing that self-awareness leads to spiritual illumination. Unearthed near Nag Hammadi, Egypt in 1945, the Gospel of Thomas was discovered amidst a collection of texts that may have been concealed to safeguard them from exclusion when Athanasius of Alexandria established the Christian canon around 367 CE. Scholars speculate that this exclusion stemmed from disparities in theological interpretation. The Gospel's estimated origin ranges from 60 CE to 250 CE, initially recorded in Greek and subsequently translated into Coptic, an Egyptian language. This gospel portrays Jesus as an instructor imparting wisdom rather than as a divine figure performing miracles or founding a religious movement. It underscores introspection and personal revelation, suggesting that comprehending oneself is crucial to comprehending the divine. Each saying in the Gospel of Thomas prompts reflection and analysis, encouraging readers to embark on their spiritual quest. The sayings in the Gospel of Thomas span a broad array of subjects, including the nature of God's realm, the value of pursuing truth, and the importance of inner metamorphosis. Many of these sayings challenge traditional religious tenets and societal conventions, urging adherents to scrutinize and delve into their faith at a deeper level. The Gospel of Thomas offers insight into the complex spectrum of early Christian thought and the dynamic expressions of religion in antiquity. It provides a glimpse into the diverse array of beliefs and practices that coexisted alongside the more widely acknowledged Christian doctrines found in the canonical Gospels. Scholars persist in analyzing the Gospel of Thomas to gain a better understanding of its origins, transmission, and theological implications. Some regard it as a valuable reservoir for exploring the diversity of early Christian communities and the myriad interpretations of Jesus' teachings that emerged in the first centuries of the Common Era. The Gospel of Thomas has sparked considerable scholarly discourse regarding its correlation with the canonical Gospels and its standing within early Christianity. Some contend that it preserves genuine sayings of Jesus omitted from the canonical Gospels, while others perceive it as reflecting subsequent theological developments or the influence of non-Christian traditions. Despite its exclusion from the Christian canon, the Gospel of Thomas has garnered attention in contemporary spiritual circles for its focus on inner transformation and direct encounters with the divine. It resonates with those seeking a more personal and introspective approach to spirituality, inviting readers to engage with its teachings in a meaningful manner. The Gospel of Thomas has been translated into numerous languages and scrutinized by scholars and spiritual seekers worldwide. Its impact extends beyond academic circles to shape modern Christian theology, interfaith dialogue, and spiritual practices emphasizing personal growth and self-awareness. Experts have deliberated on the Gospel of Thomas's role in Christian traditions, accentuating its Gnostic elements. Gnosticism being a belief system valuing mystical knowledge over the structured framework of the Church. Scholars like Elaine Pagels have suggested that the Gospel of Thomas might have enjoyed popularity and influence in the early Christian community, potentially influencing other Gospel narratives. For instance, the depiction of doubting Thomas in the Gospel of John might have been crafted in direct response to the themes in the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas portrays the kingdom of God not as a future, cataclysmic event as depicted in the canonical texts, but as an existing reality accessible through spiritual insight and self-realization. This perspective implies that divine truth is not a distant or external phenomenon, but something discoverable within oneself. Elaine Pagels, a prominent scholar in religious studies, has devoted much of her career to examining the impact of ancient texts on early Christian communities. One of her focal points has been the Gospel of Thomas, a non-canonical text discovered among the Nag Hammadi library in Egypt. Pagels suggests that comprehending the Gospel of Thomas can offer valuable insights into the diversity of beliefs within early Christianity and illuminate how these beliefs shape the development of the canonical Gospels. The Gospel of Thomas presents a unique portrayal of Jesus and his teachings, emphasizing spiritual enlightenment and personal revelation. In contrast to the canonical Gospels, which emphasize Jesus' physical resurrection, the Gospel of Thomas prioritizes a spiritual resurrection. This emphasis on spiritual rather than bodily resurrection may have incited theological debates and dissensions within early Christian communities. One of the most familiar narratives in the canonical Gospels reflecting this theological tension is the story of doubting Thomas in the Gospel of John. In this account, Thomas expresses skepticism about Jesus' resurrection until he sees and touches Jesus' wounds. This emphasis on tangible evidence of resurrection contrasts with the spiritual focus of the Gospel of Thomas. Pagels proposes that the narrative of doubting Thomas in the Gospel of John might have been influenced by debates within early Christian communities about the nature of resurrection. She suggests that the author of the Gospel of John might have included this narrative as a direct response to concepts presented in the Gospel of Thomas, which emphasized a spiritual understanding of resurrection. The narrative of doubting Thomas in the Gospel of John can be interpreted as a theological rebuttal to the emphasis on spiritual resurrection found in texts like the Gospel of Thomas. By emphasizing the physicality of Jesus' resurrection, the author of John's Gospel may have aimed to affirm traditional Christian beliefs and challenge alternative interpretations circulating within the early Christian movement. Pagels' research has stimulated significant interest and debate among scholars of early Christianity. Her insights into the relationship between the Gospel of Thomas and the canonical Gospels offer a nuanced comprehension of the theological diversity present in the early Christian community. While some scholars view the Gospel of Thomas as a valuable resource for understanding early Christian thought, others caution against attributing excessive influence to it on the canonical Gospels. The relationship between the Gospel of Thomas and the canonical Gospels remains a subject of ongoing scholarly inquiry and debate. Pagels' research has also shed light on the broader context in which the Gospel of Thomas emerged. She explores how the diversity of beliefs within early Christianity led to theological disagreements and debates, ultimately shaping the development of Christian doctrine and scripture. In addition to her work on the Gospel of Thomas, Pagels has written extensively on other topics related to early Christianity and Gnostic literature. Her scholarship has significantly contributed to our understanding of the religious and intellectual landscape of the ancient world. Overall, Elaine Pagels' research on the Gospel of Thomas provides valuable insights into the intricate and multifaceted nature of early Christian beliefs. By examining how this non-canonical text might have influenced the canonical Gospels, Pagels encourages readers to reconsider the breadth of thought within the early Christian movement and its implications for understanding the evolution of Christian theology. The Gospel of Thomas is renowned for its emphasis on cryptic statements and self-awareness, characteristics typical of Gnostic beliefs which prioritize the spiritual over the physical. This gospel asserts that a genuine understanding of one's origin and essence is vital for reuniting with the divine realm. It diverges sharply from Orthodox Christian teachings, which stress belief in Christ's physical resurrection and divine grace as the paths to salvation. Scholars like Pagels have highlighted Thomas's potential impact on shaping early Christian doctrinal deliberations. The text's distinctive approach, proposing that the kingdom of God is a present and internal state rather than a future external event, presents an alternative perspective from the canonical texts, potentially provoking substantial theological deliberations among early Christians. Furthermore, the Gospel of Thomas was likely written in the mid-2nd century, significantly later than the canonical Gospels. This later composition date suggests that it did not originate from an apostle or their immediate followers, diminishing its credibility and authority as a foundational Christian text. The content of the Gospel of Thomas, with its lack of a narrative about Jesus' life and its presentation of unconventional teachings, also contributed to its exclusion. For instance, it presents a non-dualistic view of salvation and an almost mystical approach to understanding Jesus' teachings, which starkly contrasts with the more historical and narrative approach of the canonical Gospels. Additionally, the early Christian community did not widely acknowledge or accept the Gospel of Thomas, further impeding its inclusion in the canonical Bible. The Church Fathers and early Christian councils aimed to establish a canon reflecting teachings and beliefs universally accepted and traceable back to the apostles themselves. Since the Gospel of Thomas did not meet these criteria, it was not incorporated into the Bible. In summary, the Gospel of Thomas's theological disparities, unclear authorship, and late composition contributed to its exclusion from the Bible, deemed incongruous with the doctrinal underpinnings of early Christianity. The Gospel of Judas shows a different side of Judas Iscariot, where he's shown as a wise helper, not a traitor. Judas Iscariot's secret role in the Gospel of Judas. The Gospel of Judas presents a radically different perspective on Judas Iscariot compared to what is depicted in the traditional canonical Gospels. In this alternative Gnostic narrative, Judas Iscariot is not portrayed as the archetypal traitor of Christian legend, but is instead shown as an enlightened disciple who carries out the instructions given to him by Jesus Christ himself. This different storyline posits that Judas Iscariot's involvement in the arrest of Jesus Christ was not an act of betrayal, but rather the fulfillment of a critical divine mission crucial for completing Jesus Christ's tasks on earth. Authored in the Coptic language, scholarly consensus suggests that the Gospel of Judas was composed in the latter part of the 2nd century, with estimates placing its origin around 280 AD, although there is a margin of error of about 60 years. The dialogues within the text between Jesus Christ and Judas Iscariot indicate a unique relationship where Jesus Christ imparts secretive and profound knowledge to Judas Iscariot, knowledge that he did not share with other disciples. This secret knowledge, which delves deep into spiritual insights and the fundamental nature of the universe, identifies Judas Iscariot as a member of what is termed a holy generation, setting him apart from his contemporaries. This text challenges the established Christian doctrines by emphasizing a Gnostic interpretation of salvation. In this interpretation, salvation is achieved through gnosis, or spiritual enlightenment, rather than through faith alone. This notion is reflective of a broader Gnostic contempt for the material world, which they view as the creation of a lesser deity, rather than the true, supreme God revered in mainstream Christianity. Rediscovered in the 1970s, the manuscript known as Codex Chakos, named after its last private owner before it became public, underwent extensive restoration efforts before its public unveiling in 2006 by the National Geographic Society. Even though the manuscript was fragmented, scholars were able to reconstruct much of the text, which provides an intriguing window into the theological debates of early Christianity. The narrative reshaped by the Gospel of Judas compels readers to re-evaluate the spiritual and cosmic revelations it discusses, which are in stark contrast to the historically focused narratives of the canonical texts. In this Gospel, Judas Iscariot is depicted as a knowledgeable disciple, a depiction that encourages a reassessment of his role in Christian history. Further exploration into Gnostic cosmology, the Gospel of Judas presents a worldview wherein spiritual realms and divine entities play crucial roles in the universe's creation. This viewpoint is in sharp contrast with mainstream Christian theology, which typically centers on a singular omniscient God devoid of the intricate hierarchies of lesser divine beings and emanations emphasized in Gnostic thought. In the Gnostic tradition illustrated in the Gospel of Judas, the material world is portrayed as the creation of a flawed, perhaps even malevolent, lesser deity. This cosmological view is intertwined with the narrative surrounding Judas Iscariot, who, rather than being merely a betrayer, acts in accordance with the instructions given by Jesus Christ. His actions are depicted as essential to a divine plan meant to challenge the established order and achieve a form of spiritual liberation. The rediscovery of this text has reignited scholarly interest and debate regarding the diversity of early Christian thought and the broader implications of Gnostic beliefs on the history of Christianity. The Gospel of Judas suggests that Judas Iscariot was not a traitor, but a chosen disciple, endowed with secretive knowledge, playing a pivotal role in the narrative of salvation. This portrayal invites a re-evaluation of his character and the theological implications of his actions as part of a preordained divine plan. Scholars have noted that the Gospel of Judas, likely first written in Greek during the mid-2nd century before being translated into Coptic, reflects a strand of Gnosticism known as Scythianism. This sect of Gnosticism views the world as the creation of an inferior god, a view that significantly diverges from the proto-Orthodox Christian belief in a benevolent and omnipotent creator. Discussions within the Gospel between Jesus Christ and Judas Iscariot focus on themes such as the illusory nature of the physical world and the hidden spiritual knowledge that can free the soul from material confines. Thus, this text not only challenges traditional narratives about Judas Iscariot, but also questions the foundations of mainstream Christian eschatology and soteriology, offering a profound commentary on the spiritual and theological complexities of early Christian teachings. Dive into the Dead Sea Scrolls to explore ancient Jewish beliefs and how they shaped early Christianity. Ancient writings uncover Jewish traditions in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls, unearthed between 1947 and 1956 near the Dead Sea's northwest shore at Qumran, have profoundly broadened our comprehension of Jewish history during the Second Temple period. Dating from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE, these manuscripts are the oldest known versions of the Hebrew Bible and include other significant religious texts not featured in the traditional biblical canon. This extensive collection paints a detailed picture of the religious life, practices, and beliefs of various Jewish sects of that era, such as the Pharisees, Sadducees, Essenes, and even groups that would evolve into early Christians. These ancient texts are believed to have been written by the Essenes, a Jewish sect noted for their strict communal lifestyle and apocalyptic beliefs. The documents found range from biblical manuscripts to philosophical commentaries, apocalyptic visions, and detailed community regulations, reflecting the rich theological diversity and the vibrant cultural backdrop of Jewish religious life at that time. Such variety in the scrolls offers insights into the theological underpinnings and scriptural interpretations that varied significantly among different Jewish groups. The archaeological site of Qumran is intimately linked to these scrolls. It includes structures that support a communal way of living, matching descriptions of Essene practices, such as communal meals and ritual baths. This has led many scholars to identify Qumran as a potential hub for the Essenes, who are thought to have occupied this site until it was abandoned around 68 CE following the Roman conquest. The discovery of these scrolls has not only pushed back the scholarly dating of a stabilized Hebrew Bible to no later than 70 CE, but has also shed light on the interactions and religious tensions between early Christians and Jews. It highlights the substantial debates and diversity within the Jewish communities during this period, challenging the earlier notion of a monolithic Jewish practice during the Second Temple era. Further emphasizing the unique nature of the Essenes, historians like Flavius Josephus and Philo of Alexandria describe them as living in celibacy, dedicating significant time to religious studies and practices, and adhering to a communal lifestyle. These practices are supported by archaeological findings at Qumran, which include communal facilities like dining halls and ritual baths, suggesting these locations functioned as community centers. The scrolls themselves include an array of texts, from the oldest fragments of the Hebrew Bible, which show notable variations from later canonical texts, to Apocrypha and Pseudepigrapha that, while not included in later Jewish or mainstream Christian canons, held considerable religious importance within the Essene community. The theological perspectives of the Essenes were distinctly apocalyptic, expecting an imminent divine intervention to correct the world's evils. Their literature is filled with visions of the end times, revealed through celestial journeys guided by angels, and a marked dualism between forces of light and darkness, reflecting not only a religious viewpoint, but also a social critique of the external political and religious establishments. The unique calendar of the Essenes, which diverged from the conventional Jewish lunar calendar by following a solar count, and their distinctive religious observances and festivals further highlight their separation from mainstream Jewish society. The reason for hiding these documents in the caves around Qumran likely stemmed from the need to protect them during the unstable periods marked by Roman occupation and the Jewish-Roman wars. The arid conditions of the Qumran caves played a critical role in preserving these texts for nearly 2 millennia, allowing modern scholars a rare and detailed glimpse into the breadth of Jewish thought and practice during the Second Temple period. This unexpected cache of documents has provided an unparalleled window into the past, enriching our understanding of the historical and religious dynamics of ancient Judaism and the roots of Christianity. Explore how the Nag Hammadi Library changed our view of early Christianity, showing a variety of beliefs and ideas that differ from traditional teachings. Voices from the past in the Nag Hammadi texts. The Nag Hammadi Library, discovered unexpectedly in 1945 near the town of Nag Hammadi, about 300 miles southeast of Cairo, Egypt, posed significant challenges to conventional understandings of early Christian theology. Hidden within a large sealed jar, this collection comprises texts penned in the Coptic language during the 3rd and 4th centuries. It includes a plethora of Gnostic scriptures that provide unconventional insights into theology, cosmology, and spirituality, effectively broadening the scope of known religious thought at the time. Among these texts, the Gospel of Thomas stands out, particularly because it presents perspectives on Jesus Christ and his teachings that starkly differ from those found in the canonical New Testament. This gospel, along with others in the collection, questions the Orthodox Christian teachings and introduces alternative narratives that have intrigued and perplexed scholars and theologians alike. The fortuitous discovery of these texts by a local farmer not only catalyzed a significant scholarly re-evaluation of Gnostic contributions to Christian thought, but also underscored the diversity of early Christian writings. The Nag Hammadi texts encompass not just theological discussions, but also elaborate on the nature of reality and the soul, include liturgical texts, and delve into philosophical discourses. This diversity highlights the complex and multifaceted nature of early Christian theological debates and suggests a richness in spiritual thought that transcends simplistic doctrinal interpretations. These ancient writings expand our comprehension of Gnostic beliefs, which were often sidelined in the official ecclesiastical canons. They shed light on a broader spectrum of early Christian diversity, illustrating a rich tapestry of religious thought characterized by vigorous debates over the nature of divinity, the cosmos, and the significance of knowledge in achieving salvation. Such debates also critique the materialism perceived in later religious practices, suggesting a spiritual pursuit of knowledge, or gnosis, was as integral to these communities as the following of apostolic authority. Before the availability of these texts, much of what was known about Gnosticism was derived from the critiques and condemnations of its detractors. Now, with these primary sources, scholars can investigate Gnostic beliefs from the perspectives of their adherents, gaining insights into their spiritual practices and philosophical outlooks. This not only challenges the previously accepted narratives of Christian origins, but also enriches our understanding of the historical development of Christian doctrines. The Nag Hammadi Library paints a complex portrait of early Christian spirituality, which was apparently as focused on the quest for personal enlightenment and inner knowledge as it was on conforming to apostolic traditions. The varied beliefs and practices documented in these texts show that early Christian communities were likely more diverse than later church orthodoxy could tolerate or acknowledge. This implies not only a broad spectrum of doctrinal disagreements, but also a vibrant tapestry of spiritual and intellectual exploration that was gradually marginalized by more institutionalized forms of worship. Furthermore, the discovery of the Nag Hammadi texts has spurred scholars to reevaluate the historical narrative of early Christian thought. These texts challenge established narratives, offering alternative perspectives that frequently contrast with the accepted biblical accounts. They highlight the contentious nature of early Christian spirituality, marked by vibrant debate over the nature of salvation, the universe, and the divine. From the texts of Nag Hammadi, which include lesser-known works like the Apocryphon of John and the Gospel of Philip alongside the Gospel of Thomas, we learn that some early Christians viewed the material world as an illusion, a temporary state to be transcended through spiritual knowledge and inner awakening. This view starkly contrasts with more orthodox Christian teachings, which emphasize salvation through faith and divine grace. The Nag Hammadi Library not only broadens our view of Gnostic Christianity, but also challenges us to reconsider the early Christian world. Its discovery has ignited ongoing debates among scholars, theologians, and believers about the nature of faith, the history of religious thought, and the complexities of early Christian communities. This collection remains a critical resource for anyone interested in exploring the roots of Christianity and the varied paths that religious belief can take. In conclusion, the discovery of the Nag Hammadi texts in the mid-20th century revitalized debates around heresy and orthodoxy in Christian history, hinting at an ancient form of spiritual practice that emphasized direct, mystical communion with the divine over the hierarchical, mediated worship practices that later dominated mainstream Christianity. This irony is not lost on modern observers, as these texts, many of which advocate salvation through knowledge gained by personal revelation, were hidden, perhaps out of fear of persecution, or as a means to preserve their sacred wisdom from a world unprepared to understand or accept it. Today, the Nag Hammadi Library serves as a crucial tool for scholars and theologians, providing alternative narratives and a stark reminder of the complexities and internal disputes within early Christianity. Was Judas really a villain or just misunderstood? Explore the revelations. If you found this intriguing, hit like. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more enlightening discussions.